There are moments that split your life clean in two, a before and an after. Mine happened on a Tuesday, an ordinary Tuesday, where I'd forgotten some paperwork and drove home on my lunch break. I thought I'd grab my files, maybe share a quick sandwich with my husband. I had no idea I was driving toward the end of my own life. The life I knew, anyway. My name is Josephine. I was 34, a claims adjuster, a wife of 8 years. I believed in order, in routine. My world was my beautiful townhouse, my successful husband, Jackson, and my sweet neighbor, Caroline, who I considered a sister. We borrowed sugar, we shared secrets. Or at least, I shared mine. That morning, Jackson seemed twitchy. He kept checking his phone. When I kissed him goodbye, he'd barely tasted my lips. "See you tonight, honey," he called from his office. The last normal words. Work was a blur. I had this knot in my stomach, a cold, hard stone of dread I couldn't name. When I realized I'd left the audit files at home, I almost felt relieved. An excuse to go back, to see him, to make the stone go away. The drive was 15 minutes. When I pulled into the driveway, the stone turned to ice. Caroline's car was there, in my spot, a little red flag waving in the quiet suburb. Maybe she's dropping something off, I thought. Maybe she needed an egg. But the house, it was too quiet, a listening quiet. "Jackson?" My voice sounded small, swallowed by the hallway. No answer. No music from his office. Just the sound of water running upstairs, in our bathroom. And then a laugh. Caroline's laugh. A low, intimate sound I'd never heard from her before. My heart wasn't beating, it was throwing itself against my ribs. Every step up the staircase felt like walking to the gallows. Part of me begged to turn around, to go back to my car, to my desk, to my safe, oblivious life. The other part needed to see. I needed the proof that would shatter me. The bedroom door was ajar. The shower was running in the ensuite. And now I could hear them. Not words, sounds. The sounds you make when you think you're alone in the world. I pushed the door open. Time stopped. There they were, in my bathtub, the one I'd picked out, the tiles I'd scrubbed. Jackson's hands were on her hips. Her head was thrown back against the porcelain, a smile on her face I'd never seen before. They were in a world of their own, a world they'd built in my house with my trust. Caroline opened her eyes, saw me. The smile died, replaced by pure animal panic. Jackson followed her gaze. "Josephine," he choked out, "you know what I didn't do? I didn't scream. I didn't cry. A strange, terrifying calm washed over me, colder than the shower water. I looked at the man I'd loved for 8 years, at the woman I'd confided in for 3, and I felt nothing, just a hollow, ringing clarity. "Stay right there," I said. My voice was someone else's, flat, commanding. "Joe, wait, it's not," Jackson started, moving to get out. I repeated, locking eyes with him, "don't move." I stepped back. I closed the bathroom door, and I turned the old skeleton key in the lock. The click was the loudest sound I'd ever heard. Jackson, muffled, panicked. "Josephine, what are you doing? Open the door. This is insane." Caroline, muffled, shrill. "Oh my God, let us out, please." I didn't answer them. I walked to my nightstand, picked up my phone. My hands were steady, perfectly steady. I scrolled past Mom, past work, and found the number I needed. Lincoln, Caroline's husband, a good man, a kind man who fixed things for a living. He answered on the second ring. "Hey, Joe, what's up?" "Lincoln," I said, my voice still that eerie, calm river. "I need you to come to my house right now. There's something you need to see." While I waited, I sat on the edge of my bed, our bed, and I let the facts settle. The extra gym sessions, the sudden business trips, Caroline's new lingerie she'd bought for Lincoln, the way she'd always pop over when Jackson was working from home. The puzzle pieces I'd ignored clattered into place, forming a picture so ugly it was almost beautiful in its cruelty. Then I saw Jackson's phone on the charger. No password. We'd always had an open phone policy. The ultimate joke. I opened his messages, and I descended into their secret world. It wasn't just texts. It was a blueprint, a 6-month blueprint of betrayal. Plans to meet at the Seaview Motel on my late workdays, jokes about my predictable routine, discussions about money, my money, our money. Jackson asking his lawyer friend about hiding assets before a divorce. Caroline sending him Zillow links to townhouses for when we're finally free, she'd written. The worst one, Caroline. Sometimes I feel guilty. Joe is so naive. Jackson. Don't. Her simplicity is why this works. Just a few more weeks to get the finances in order. I read that last line 3 times. Her simplicity. The stone in my stomach melted, replaced by a forge of white-hot steel. Simplicity? Not trust, not love. Simplicity. Doorbell rings, sharp and clear. Lincoln was at the door, his work boots dusty, concern etched on his kind face. Josephine, you okay? You sounded... I opened the door wide. They're upstairs, Lincoln, in my bathroom. I locked them in. He blinked. Who's they? Jackson and Caroline. The words didn't compute. I saw the same journey on his face I'd taken an hour before. Confusion, denial, a dawning horror that cracked his entire world open. I just handed him Jackson's phone, open to the Zillow link. He read, his shoulders slumped. The light in his eyes went out. The kids, he whispered. She told me she was at her mom's yesterday. We didn't fall apart. We came together. 2 shattered people in my living room, surrounded by photos of our 4 smiling faces at barbecues. We became generals in a war we didn't start. We made a plan, not with tears, but with a cold, focused efficiency. First, we recorded the audio from our phones, holding them up to the bathroom door. Jackson, muffled on recording. Lincoln, man, you have to understand. We fell in love. It just happened. Caroline, muffled on recording. It's not like we wanted to hurt anyone. We got it all. Their excuses, their panicked lies, their desperate bargaining. Evidence. Pure digital evidence. Then we made the calls. I called my divorce attorney. Lincoln called his. I called Jackson's boss at the finance firm. Turns out those client meetings were at the Seaview Motel too. Lincoln called Caroline's mother, who'd been babysitting while her daughter was at book club. With every call, the pitiful banging from upstairs grew more frantic. Finally, we went back up. The power had shifted. It was ours now. I turned the key, the door opened. Steam billowed out, and with it, they emerged. 2 ghosts, wrapped in towels, shivering with shame and fear. The arrogance was gone. The secret lovers were just a scared man and a trembling woman who'd gambled everything and lost. Jackson reached for me. Joe, please. Don't. The word was a wall. You don't get to speak to me. You don't get to touch me. You get to listen. I laid out their new reality. The lawyers were engaged. Their employers were informed. The evidence, the texts, the audio, the financial scheming was with my attorney. His plan to leave me with nothing now was the reason he'd leave with less than nothing. Lincoln looked at Caroline, his voice thick with a grief that had already hardened into resolve. You have 1 hour to pack a bag and get out of our house. Don't speak to the boys. My lawyer will be in touch. We watched them dress in silence, their movements clumsy with shame. We watched them walk out of my front door, their heads down, into the blinding light of the ordinary Tuesday they'd destroyed. And then Lincoln and I were alone in the wreckage. He turned to me. Are you okay? I looked around my living room, my sanctuary that had been violated. I felt the hollow space where my marriage had been. I felt the blistering anger, the profound grief waiting its turn. But overriding it all, I felt something new, solid, unshakable. I will be, I said, and for the first time, I knew it was true. The aftermath was a whirlwind. The divorce was swift. The evidence was so damning, Jackson capitulated. He got the bare minimum. I kept the house. I kept my financial security. More importantly, I kept my dignity. Lincoln and I, we were a bond forged in fire. We weren't a romance, we were a support system. We checked in, we shared lawyer updates, we talked about the surreal pain of being betrayed by the two people who were supposed to know you best. I changed everything. I repainted the bathroom, I got a new bed, I took a solo trip to Italy because I'd always wanted to see Rome, and Jackson said it was too chaotic. I started painting messy, abstract things that meant nothing and everything. I wasn't rebuilding the old Josephine. That woman was gone, locked in that bathroom with them. I was building someone new, someone who knew her own strength, someone who would never mistake simplicity for trust again. A year later, I saw Jackson at the grocery store. He looked older, diminished. He tried to apologize, his words a hollow script. I listened, and I felt nothing. No hate, no love. Just a vast, quiet space where he used to be. I forgive you, I said, and I meant it. Not for him, for me. But understand, your betrayal didn't break me. It unleashed me. I walked away, my cart full of food I chose for myself, and a life I built for myself. The quiet townhouse is now filled with my art, my books, my unapologetic peace. The locked door wasn't my cage, it was theirs. And when I opened it, I didn't just let two cheaters out. I let a stronger woman in. That's my story. It's not a tragedy. It's a rebirth. And if you're listening to this, holding your own piece of quiet hurt, just know this. Sometimes the moment that shatters you is the same moment that shows you how unbreakable you really are. Your strength is there. It's just waiting for you to turn the key.